Tonight, as you scroll your phone in the dark, you feel like a finished product. You have a job, a name, a favorite song, and a body that seems entirely made for sitting in chairs. You are not a fish. You have never breathed through gills. You have never felt the pull of an ancient current against your fins. But the real answer is far stranger, and it is written in every bone you carry. Your middle ear contains 3 tiny bones named the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. You might call them the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. They are the smallest bones in your body, and they exist to carry sound from the air to your inner ear. But they were not always ear bones. In a creature called Tiktaalik, a transitional fossil discovered by paleontologist Neil Shubin and his colleague Ted Deschler in 2006 in the Canadian Arctic, those same bones formed a critical part of a fish's jaw. The bone that now lets you hear your friend's voice once helped that ancient creature bite through muddy river plants. This is not a poetic comparison. This is literal anatomy shared across 375 million years of unbroken inheritance. Your brain wants to think of evolution as a ladder you climbed. You imagine a straight line from slime to greatness, with you standing at the top, holding a smartphone. Charles Darwin warned against this exact mistake in The Descent of Man. He wrote about modification, not progress. You are not a destination. You are a continuation. The evidence does not support a finish line. It supports a river. Look closely at your hands in the light. You have 5 fingers. That number was not invented for typing on glass screens. It was settled long before any land animal existed, in the muscular fins of lobe-finned fish that push themselves through shallow, muddy waters. The same structural plan that shaped those ancient fins now shapes your hands, your ribs, even the curved architecture of your heart inside your chest. Your heart is not a modern invention dropped into your body at birth. It is a modified tube that once pumped water through gill tissue, and now it pumps blood through lungs that were never part of the original aquatic design, but were adapted from an air-breathing sac in those same transitional fish. You might wonder what happened to your gills. They did not vanish into nothing. They transformed. The arches that once held breathing tissue in fish embryos became your jaw, your throat cartilage, your voice box, and vital parts of your ear. Paleontologist Jenny Clack revealed this deep continuity through her careful study of Acanthosica, an early 4-limbed animal that still carried internal gills even as it walked on land. The evidence is not locked away in museums under glass. It is visible inside every human embryo for a brief, critical window. You develop pharyngeal arches, which are the same curved tissue structures that build gills in fish, complete with the genetic switches that could still construct gill slits if your developing body followed that older ancestral path instead of its current instructions. This is where the story turns sharp and strange, because you still carry the machinery, even if you never use it underwater. Your hiccups are a leftover reflex from a time when your distant ancestors needed to snap their throats shut to push water over gill tissue without accidentally flooding their primitive lungs. Your body does not understand the difference between an ancient pond and a modern office meeting. The reflex fires anyway, triggered by irritation, excitement, or nothing at all. You hiccup at your desk, and 300 million years of evolutionary history briefly takes the wheel without asking your permission. But there's a deeper truth hidden inside this continuity. Your brain, too, is not as modern as your profile picture suggests. The deep structures that process fear, attachment, and rapid reward did not suddenly appear when humans arrived on the scene. They evolved in careful stages across vertebrate history, layer upon layer, like sediment in a riverbed. When you feel anxiety before a presentation or scroll through your feed, seeking a quick hit of approval, part of that signal travels through neural pathways that were shaped in aquatic ancestors who needed instant responses to shadow, vibration, and sudden movement. You interpret the feeling as modern stress or digital addiction. Your nervous system reads it as survival. The 2006 discovery of Tiktaalik changed how scientists talk about the water-to-land transition. Shubin and Deschler did not merely stumble upon a strange fossil in frozen rock. They found the exact intermediate form that Darwin predicted must exist, but had never lived long enough to see. Tiktaalik had scales and fins like a fish, but it also possessed a flat skull, a mobile neck, and ribs strong enough to support its weight out of water. It was a fish capable of pushing itself upward onto muddy banks. And in its skeletal architecture, You can trace the prototype of your own shoulder, elbow, and wrist. The bones are not identical, but they are recognizably related, like dialects of the same language spoken across centuries. Even your sense of time carries this legacy in your cells. Your circadian rhythms, the cycles that tell you when to sleep and when to wake, are tied to molecular clocks that exist in nearly every cell of your body and in the bodies of creatures separated from you by hundreds of millions of years of divergence. You feel tired at midnight not merely because of your schedule or your screen. Your cells remember an ancient rotation of the Earth. The clock was never redesigned for coffee shops and late emails. It was inherited, and it continues to tick. Modern medicine is slowly learning to read this old manual for practical healing. Scientists studying heart regeneration in zebrafish have discovered that those small fish can rebuild large portions of damaged heart tissue naturally and quickly. Humans cannot do this, at least not without help. But you share the genetic pathways that make regeneration possible. Researchers are now exploring how to reactivate those silent instructions inside human cardiac cells. The fish blueprint is not just a memory locked in evolutionary time. It might become a key to future treatment. Even your reflex to flinch at a sudden shadow near your peripheral vision connects back to this lineage. The rapid processing of movement on the edges of your sight was refined in bodies that lived in murky, dangerous water where a predator could strike from any angle. You are sitting in a well-lit room, and yet your body still prepares for impact faster than your conscious mind can form a thought. You are protected by instincts older than language. So what does all of this mean for you, specifically today? It means your body is not a brand new machine designed for the modern world. It is an ancient one patched, edited, and adapted, running software that was never fully rewritten or replaced. Your cravings for salt trace back to the chemical balance of ancient oceans. Your ability to hold your breath under stress connects to diving reflexes shared with aquatic relatives. The way your eyes tear in bright wind or strong light connects to protection mechanisms refined in exposed, shallow waters. You are not separate from that history. You are its current running version. This is not a reason to feel diminished or primitive. It is a reason to feel anchored to something far larger than your individual lifespan. When you breathe, you're using lungs that evolved from an air bladder in a lobe-finned fish that struggled to survive in drying pools. When you listen to music, you are using bones that were once part of jaw in a creature that crawled through muddy rivers 375 million years ago. When you feel fear and comfort and the need to belong, you are using neural architecture refined over eons in bodies very different from yours, yet fundamentally the same in their purpose. The real answer is not that you used to be a fish long ago and then became something else entirely. You never truly stopped being part of that continuous story. Your body is the latest edition of a design that has been tested in every environment on Earth, from deep ocean trenches to dry savannas and crowded cities. The genetic language that built that ancient fish is still speaking inside your cells right now, directing growth, repair, immune response, and emotional regulation. You are not a break from the past. You are the past, still moving forward, still breathing, still adapting, still present. Tonight, when you scroll your phone in the dark, you are not a finished product sitting at the end of history. You are a continuing draft, written in ancient water and carried into modern light, carrying every layer that came before you.